Hola amigos y amigas, this is Daniela from Tell Me in Spanish. And as you might have noticed, I'm not an English native speaker. Because of this, I struggle a lot with dates. I see dates and I have to take like 1 or 2 minutes to figure out what it means because it's so confusing for me. And I also notice that people learning Spanish also have the same issue. So today, to help you overcome this problem, I'm going to teach you how to write and say dates in Spanish. You might be wondering why you need to know this information. Dates in Spanish are actually pretty common. You can use them to set appointments, but most importantly, to form time markers so you can talk about the present, the past, or the future. So let's start. In Spanish, the format that we use to say dates or to write them, we put the day first, then the month, and lastly the year. As you can see, we inverse these two elements because in English, if I'm correctly, you put them on first and then you put the day. When it comes to Spanish, the day must always be the day's date, meaning like the number, October 3, it will be 3 de octubre. But you can also add the day of the week if you need it. So let's start with the numeric format, which is probably one of the most common that you're going to see when doing paperwork or things like that. You're going to follow the same formula, day first, month, and then year if you need it. You're not going to need it all the time. So for example, if I want to say today's date, October 3rd, you will say 3 de octubre de 2022. Notice that in English you say October 3rd, but in Spanish we use regular numbers. 3 de octubre. So now that you understand the formula and the format that we follow in Spanish, I'm going to show you a more advanced use of dates. For example, when we want to say dates, or when we want to say today's date, for example, we can use these two formulas, estamos y es. This one is a little bit more formal and is not as common. If you really want to sound like a native speaker, you should focus on this one. So check the elements. Estamos a day, and remember this can be a number, the day's date, or the day of the week. De plus month plus year. Let me give you an example. For example, today, estamos a 3 de octubre del 2022. I'm going to give you another example. Estamos a 1 de enero. So two very important things when it comes to date in Spanish. Number one, in Spanish, we always use cardinal numbers when saying the dates, unlike English. However, when we're talking about the first day of the month, we use primero. That's the only instance where we use ordinal numbers. Estamos a 1 de enero. But I will say, estamos a 2 de enero. Estamos a 3 de enero. And so on. Another thing, and this is not only applicable to Spanish, that's applicable to English too, is that you can use information depending on how you need it. In some cases, it's going to be pretty obvious what the year is, so you don't need to repeat it. The same happens with the month. I'm going to give you another example with this structure. Remember, it's the same. We're using these two to say today's date. So, for example, in this case, it will be hoy es 3 de octubre. And in this case, I'm just going to omit the year because it's pretty clear what year is today. What year is today? That sounds a little bit weird. So let me try that again. What I meant is this current year. So these formulas are perfect if you want to say today's date. But you can also use dates in Spanish to talk about when an action or an event took place. In this case, you are going to use another verb to express that action that you're talking about. For example, Sandra nació, was born, el 15 de julio de 1980. Sandra was born on July 15, 1980. Another example, Cristóbal Colón, this is Christopher Columbus in Spanish. Cristóbal Colón descubrió América el 12 de octubre. So you can use this formula to say virtually anything you want. You can use it in past to say when something happened. You can also use it in future to express when are you going to do something. For example, iré a Madrid el 20 de enero. So by the way, right here I'm writing the number with like words just to help you improve your Spanish and your numbers. But it's actually okay too if you just see the number itself, right? You can write it like this, or like this, or with letters or words, with words if it's if you want. Both options are correct, and whatever it feels better for you, it's perfect. So that's it for today, guys. I really hope that you now have a better understanding of how to write and say dates in Spanish. If you find this video helpful and you want to see more lessons, please subscribe in the bottom below. I'm also going to give you a link so you can see this lesson in Spanish so you can push yourself a little bit more. I'm also going to link to my blog where you can find this information too, along with more examples and other Spanish topics that might be useful for you. That's it for today, guys. Thank you.